Smart office spaces, how important are they in the context of this entire Congress? Let me just illustrate it with a couple of facts from the city we're in, Warsaw. I'm not sure if many of you have heard it, but this ecosystem of modern contemporary office spaces has been so advanced in this city that they've had their own monthly newspaper. And guess what? The title of this monthly newspaper is The Voice of Mordor, as you would have expected. Ladies and gentlemen, smart offices, how is tech impacting productivity and collaboration? Here to talk to you about it, please welcome Philipp von Gilsa, CEO and co-founder of Contact.io. We have Boris Segal, Director, Digital Partnerships and CBRE. We have Christos, Passas, Design Director at Zaha, Hadid, Architects. And the panel discussion moderator, Maciej Markowski, Chief Growth Officer at Equiem. Gentlemen, the stage is all yours. Enjoy.
Hello, everyone. I hope the lunch is digesting correctly. It's a big pleasure to be speaking with everybody here. Do we want to say two words about each other? So I'm Chief Growth Officer at Equiem. We're a tool that effectively turns a smartphone into remote control of an office building or an office. So it can be used for desk booking, meeting room booking, access to the space. So generally we help companies and landlords turn into hybrid working. Christos.
Yes, hi, my name is Christos. I'm a Senior Design Director at Zaha Hadid Architects. We are, by nature, space explorers, and wherever that takes us as architects and architectural designers, we explore what the new and contemporary workspace looks like, and we try to provide solutions either through smart systems or by recalibrating the architectural design to accommodate the people who work in them.
Hi, thank you for coming. You will not regret this unless you'll make me sing. Other than that, it should be good. Boris Segal, CBRE, we are the largest commercial real estate services company in the world, working with both investors and occupiers through three main business lines. My modest role is to facilitate our direct investments. CBRE invest in innovation and in PropTech. We also invest indirectly through 4 venture capital vehicles. And finally, we also manage the experimentation and piloting of PropTech solutions at CBRE globally. We're excited to be here.
Okay, Philipp von Gilsa, CEO and co-founder of Contact.io. What we do is we are technology scale-up that is all about understanding how people are actually using space and how they interact with space. And we do that by using cloud, AI, and sensor technology to understand patterns.
Perfect. So I like how we sit here. It's the physical space, then it's the person who connects the physical and the digital, and then there's the digital provider. So I will ask my role, how I see it today, I will ask a lot of extremely obvious questions that are just enough open-ended to allow everybody to speak their mind. So my first mega obvious question is, how big of a role technology has in enabling, facilitating hybrid working? And the more complicated one, are we ever going fully remote?
It's an interesting question. I would dare say it's not yet resolved. The battle between the wants to go into the office to work together and those who prefer to work in the comfort of their own home is still raging, and I think it's going to take a little bit more time to resolve. But there is some practical issues concerning these that are worth sort of discussing. One of which was the trajectory of how the post-COVID world evolved, and obviously everybody was very happy to work safely from home during the first year. The second year of lockdown, it was a lot more difficult for people to stay put, and we also saw a kind of a drop in creative output during the course of that second year. So although people wholeheartedly and with a lot of goodwill tried to make it work from home properly, the second year just became too difficult to handle. So for someone who never worked from home, truly, I stayed in the office and I saw everybody else sort of working from outside. I saw that trajectory very clearly. What I also saw was a kind of a risk of losing the collaborative, creative office culture that we're very proud of as a company, and you know, the creative brainstorming, the arguments, you know, the intensity that goes with the design process. And I feel a lot of that was being risked. And now, just to conclude, not to take a lot more time, the hybrid working question is a difficult one, because in very simple terms, we don't have the digital tools to be able to curate authentic meetings where everybody is truly present, especially when you have to sketch something.
Zoom.
And so Zoom. I've made the best sketches of my life on Zoom. So there is this complexity. So I leave it for here and for the others to comment.
Right. So I'll pick it up from here. We don't know what we don't know, and the future is difficult to predict, especially because they made me leave my crystal ball at the airport today, so it is tough. But some things we do know. We know that technology enabled a decentralized model of work, because it's pretty good when we are talking about accomplishing a specific task at hand. So if you need to write a string of code, or you need to work on a sales pitch, or you need to get an update on a specific project, you can easily reach out to your colleagues, you can easily get the resources you need to achieve that task. However, when it comes to connecting people, and I mean really connecting people on a personal level, there is a gap there, no doubt, and we don't know for how long the gap will stay. Entirely possible that with time technologies will bridge that gap. There was this madness about metaverse and its cure for everything, and suddenly it's a little bit quieter, but we don't know. I mean, the velocity of evolution is vast. However, this gap leads organizations to believe that they are missing out a little bit on things like innovation, things like mentoring, things like proper collaboration. And bearing that in mind, we see executives leaning into mandating return to office in one way or another. Hybrid is one solution, and there is an interesting phenomena of hub and spoke, when there is a central HQ in a CBD, and there is a network of smaller satellite offices that sort of provide a compromise. So I guess the role of technology here is to provide us visibility and consistency in order to enable data-driven decisions in informing our real estate strategies. Once a strategy is derived, then we look at tech to implement a healthy, productive, collaborative space, and then importantly to measure its performance, and by that to create a feedback loop, which allows us again to measure the performance of our workplace and improve it. That's it. Sorry for the long-winded.
No, you've been doing my pitch now, which is, if you don't know, you need to start measuring. And so we are in business because nobody really knows. And the right thing to do is get an understanding how people actually use the space today. And very likely there's going to be another policy change from the top that is pushing for more, coming into the office again, which is again changing the pattern how people actually use the offices that were initially designed, having a very different idea of maybe how people are, going to use that space. So from that perspective, the ambiguity that's right now sort of in the market is benefiting technology vendors like us. I personally, though, have a very strong opinion about remote work. And that's probably now me, speaking from sort of the executive position, but it does make a difference. Like, being in is just much more productive than being outside. And I know we argued about this, but I'm a personal fan of the office. And I think with the recession and inflation, it's going to shift back.
Yeah, I'm from a company that has 160 people and 20 desks, but guess what? The mine is usually occupied, so it's a bit of a mix. Let's look at it from the opposite side, right? So let's say we do hybrid working. What does the technology need to deliver? So I'm obviously biased. I'm thinking like, okay, what our platform provides, desk booking, who's coming to the office, managing the pool of parking spaces so people can figure it out. But there is much more, right? And there are more important things, arguably, like video conferencing, for instance. So Philipp, Boris, I think
Right, holistic, my middle name. So I guess to answer this question meaningfully, we, as always, and I'm sure you do, we need to position the customer at the heart of it and understand who is that we are asking here, right? And so if it's a tenant, it's the end user, I think the conversation will revolve around health and safety. Is the air I'm breathing in the office clean? Is my workplace clean and safe for me to work? Then we probably will talk about comfort. Comfort. Can I control the temperature around me? Can I control the noise and light levels around me? Collaboration, probably. Can I find my teammates? Can I book a meeting room? Can I book a desk? Can I effectively speak to them, etc., etc.? If we are talking about organizations, but what we call tenants, i.e., companies that rent real estate to achieve occupiers. Sorry, to achieve a goal. We will be talking about building operation and facility management, and maybe more strategic questions of how do I inform and implement my ESG strategy and carbon footprint reduction, etc. If we're talking about investors, again, slightly different view. How is my portfolio performing? My individual asset performance, occupancy levels. How can I make it stickier for my customers? Leading solutions that we see have as many of those features under single roof, either natively or through partnerships and integrations. Desiloing the operation of real estate and providing, and this is important, upon request and based on roles and permissions, a single pane of glass into the needed area, and then connecting to what our host said, Mordor, so in language of Tolkien and Lord of the Ring, one platform to rule them all, one platform to unite them all, so have this a single layer of visibility. And then to introduce some method into this chaos, because it can be quite a complex topic. We developed a assessment framework at CBRE that we apply for every PropTech solution, not only occupancy and smart building. And so we look at any solution from 3 angles, through 3 lenses. How impactful it is, does it unlock significant value and solves a substantial business challenge for us or crucially for our customers. It's scalability, and we probably could have 30-minute session on scalability alone, because operating in different cultures, different geographies with different legal systems, scalability can be a challenge. And I know that Equiem just had a successful implementation here in Warsaw, just recently, right, Maciej? Rondo 1?
Oh, yes, that's true.
Yeah, that's our job to know. But I'm sure you would agree that the same implementation of the same tech in Riyadh or in Singapore or in New York will look differently, because it's just different.
Very true. I mean, we're in some 26 countries, so for sure. Yeah, it's a whole separate topic, I think.
Yeah, so sorry to put you on the spot.
No, all good.
And then finally, enterprise readiness. So how enterprise ready the solution is, and that goes to information security, it goes to data compliance, it goes to culture of the company, and this is as important. Am I comfortable to put you in front of my investment banker client or government organization? Because in the end, it's my brand. So these three aspects are really, really important to us. And again, sorry for the long-winded.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I want to add, we almost always kind of take a step back and say, listen, I think the number one job that technology needs to do is needs to make spaces or building more human-centric. And it's such a kind of obvious statement, but if you actually go into buildings or, I don't know, even, you know, an amazing hotel like that, and you pay close attention, you see a lot of little things that kind of are not human-centric, that create more questions than, I don't know, initial answers or behavior. Yeah? I'm not going into the details, but I've observed kind of arriving here and the experience, but I think everybody has these little kind of micro, you know, moments where you feel like, okay, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do. And then I think I have an example which has nothing to do with, you know, the office space or real estate, which is, however, a micro moment that is an amazing experience. And for those of you who have an iPhone and you are at a friend's place and there is a new Wi-Fi, and you don't have that Wi-Fi password yet, but your friend, you know, has it, and you're opening the phone, and it automatically like shares this. Every time I have this, I'm like, it's delight. It's like, oh, this is really cool. Just a very, very small feature, but it creates this micro moment of, okay, this makes sense. And you don't have, or like our hypothesis is that because of the fact that offices or buildings or you know, the occupier or the operator doesn't actually know how people are at the end of the day using the space, yeah, who's interacting with whom. If now everybody is coming in on a Thursday, is marketing, and we've moved everything, let's say, to you know, a hot desking type of environment. Where's everybody meeting up? Where's the engineers and marketing teams? Are they meeting up? Are they all going into the meeting rooms? Is it all happening at lunch? Is it actually that they're all, you know, taking different desks and sitting together in the same kind of peer group? Are they mixing up? Like, nobody knows. But these kind of interactions and understanding them, I think, are at the end of the day kind of the core to how you can then, you know, develop and design you know, technology around it, making these people, you know, happier and more productive in doing their job, because at the end, everybody is, you know, doing a job.
Yeah. I think Christos, do you want to add?
Maybe just to make a point about the idea of creating environments. And I think any work, endeavor, venture revolves centrally around this idea of people coming together to create an environment, the mental environment, an emotional environment through which they produce the work they produce. This is not a direct input-output equation where you press some buttons and then suddenly the work comes out. We all know that it's very heavily dependent on human relationships, on human interactions. And when you say, Philipp, the human-centric approach, I think this is what we essentially mean. Now, as architects, we've been looking into these systems of work since the beginning of the 20th century. Many people have experimented with different types of office spaces, from Frank Lloyd Wright's Johnson Wax headquarters in Chicago, which was the first, what the Germans call open, free planning office, meaning without barriers, to the contemporary City of London sort of offices that are somewhere in between, very modular and so on. But dare I say that certain, let's say, of our investigations recently revolved around the idea of engagement, because a lot of companies, probably also like yours, have been measuring the working population's engagement in offices. And in Western cultures, this is very, very low. It's only about 30% engagement of the total population of a company that feel that they go to work passionately and with a drive every day. So what we've discovered is that the first thing that you've got to increase is the well-being of people within that environment. I'm not stating whether that should be physical or virtual at the moment, but there should be real engagement. And real engagement comes from a constancy of interaction, but also from a certain awareness that what we value in the workplace is not people's direct output, but their creativity with which they solve problems. Somebody may be a programmer. He needs to go underground for 6 months before they can come out with a top-of-the-range product. And another creative may be producing creative innovations on a daily basis to produce something, right? So on the issue of hybrid workspace, how do we recreate these fundamental conditions is what we need to be answering, I think.
Can I just add something here? But I think the core function of bringing people together is something, I think, much more meaningful, which is creating emotional connection between people. And creating emotional connection between people doing work or a job creates accountability, creates, missionary type of behavior versus I'm just doing a job here. And I think whenever you are in a business that is not just about kind of growing at the same speed with the economy, but where you need to bend the odds, do something better, do something faster, do something greater than you're creating, you need that. You need that emotional connectivity that is then translating into commitment. And I feel that is very, very hard to establish if you've never met someone.
Yeah, I would agree. I think we probably would need to have somebody from Slack and Zoom and a couple of other companies to have
They're all going back fully in the office as well.
Yeah, that's true. So that's true. Particularly Zoom, they made news. That was a funny one. But I think that's the thing that tech still doesn't do extremely well, right? Like, how do we? If everybody's in the room, it'll be a good meeting. If everybody's online, it'll be an okay meeting. But if half of the people are online, half are in the room, the ones in the room are running the meeting. And in particular, if it's like a single person on the wall trying to chip in, I think it gets difficult. So I think there's huge. That's
everybody knows each other.
Yeah.
I was just saying, if everybody knows each other and you have a foundation that you've had because of pre-COVID times, great, whatever.
Yeah,
I mean, be remote all day long.
There's huge research on tech teams actually. If they're working together in the office, they X is the amount of errors they do. If they never met and work separately, they usually do 30% more errors, but all it takes is for them to have met once, kind of spend a day, and then go remote, and then they just have 2-3% more errors than a fully co-located team. We don't have crazy amount of time, and I wanted to because we're talking a lot about technology, I wanted one heavily question focused on physical office. So Christos, I will ask you to start answering. How does a good office look like? Because it seems the collaboration, the focus are now the main functions rather than it's a default that you land at a desk. Because I think it's no longer I get up, I go to a desk in an office. That is everybody's journey.
A good office of the future welcomes you when you go in through the front door. It says, welcome Christos, and recognizes you for who you are. It also recognizes your core capabilities as a human being, whether you're creative or analytical or practical or whatever you are. And the office values your core capabilities. When you go inside the office, you feel that you can have access to all the things that you need to have, and to have a sort of a seamless, almost intuitive connection with the world of technology, which sole purpose should be to enhance my operations or my colleagues' operations as we go day to day. From there on, I think it also should have an interesting spatiality. It should recognize the idea that I cannot work for more than 25 minutes in a highly focused manner, and I need to take a break. So break spaces are absolutely important. If they're also enhanced with greenery and water features and sort of Zen type of environmental decor, I think even better. And I think in conclusion, it should also allow you to experience the environment outside. No more of these space station sort of offices that have no connection to the outside. I think offices need to be biophilic. You need to see and feel the sun going up or down, or if it's a cloudy day, or which usually is in London, so we have no choice, but some note there. But in any case, I think you need to feel that environment happening.
In most of continental Europe, it's illegal to have a desk further than 8 meters from a window. In London, you can be in basement. Yes. That's true. But thankfully here, sun obligatory.
I hope that was a good non-architectural description of the architecture of the future workspace.
I liked it. Philipp, you wanted to say? Oh, Boris? Sorry.
Free lunch, good coffee, and a lot of windows.
I agree. I'll make a comment. There's a huge survey done by IFMA across Europe. If there's one thing you want to annoy everybody by saving very little money, decrease coffee quality. It's number one. It always lands on as like the small things that improve everybody's life.
And it really makes a difference, because I'm in a WeWork currently, like in New York, and the coffee is so bad, and I'm like very upset, and I'm like doing my walks just to get coffee, and I'm not a snob.
So in the end, you see, it's not about technology at all. and I think that's the main takeaway from this conversation. It's all about people.
So Philipp and I, we quit our startups and
we do a coffee.
We started a cafeteria.
100%. Highly performing teams want to be together, want to be surrounded by like-minded people. It's about energy. It's about forward moving momentum, and that's really it.
Caffeine, and sunlight, and connection is the 100%. Outcome of today's panel. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And if we have one quick question, we can try and squeeze it in, ladies and gentlemen. Anyone? Yeah, madam. Oh, there's a microphone.
Apparently there were two questions, but I will summarize into one. And it was for Boris and Christos. So I have data about the occupancy rate in Manhattan in 2019. It was 90% full-time occupancy of workers. 2020 it was 10% in a remote working area. In 2023, this year, 50%, so completely hybrid working area. The first part of the question is for Boris. Is adaptive reuse feasible? I mean, if you have a building that is supposed to be enough, is it feasible that we, along the temporary use the whole day long, or even at night, we change the function of the building to ask something else? And for Christos, instead, it was more on these recent debate about the universal or the neutral building. I understand that for you, that at Hadid you have a strong attitude also for solve the building with a formal, it's mainly focused on the shape that the building has, and its shape comes with a function, of course. Do you agree with this idea of the universal building?
Who should start? Should it be me? Is that right? So I'll try. It's a rather complex question, and thank you for that. So in preparation to this panel, I had the pleasure of talking with few our workplace strategists. I tried to make it diverse, and the United States was part of the conversation. And what the notion I've got, and it's quite, I think, quite interesting, is a phenomenon of micro markets. So markets within markets, little pieces of neighborhoods that attract more employees than others, because the surrounding of the office is much more vibrant, more coffee shops, libraries, and amenities around it. So sometimes it seems that what is in the office doesn't really matter. And there was an anecdote there from our Israeli head of country, and he worked with a large tech company that looked for a new office. I will not name any names, and they found not very popular neighborhood, and they were asked, well, what are you doing? I mean, why would you go there? The answer was, you know how you go to vacation and you would like to go to a sunny place? Well, we can make our own weather. So they go and they bring around an ecosystem of restaurants, gyms, etc. So sometimes it feels that whatever approach, I mean, the concrete, I don't know if recycling works better. I honestly not that smart, but what we see is that, again, it's about people, and it's about how they utilize their time effectively and enjoy a little bit from their day. I hope it answered your question.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to comment?
I don't know why everybody gets the idea that we're into shapes. Maybe we are. But we also know that buildings are designed usually inside out. And therefore, the shape is a direct derivative of the function that you ascribe, or the function potentials that you ascribe to a particular building. In that sense, every building is a unique proposition, and you may have two clients wanting the same thing in a different city on a different site. You get two different buildings. That's what we do. We bespoke design every proposition, and I think that's where while the ethos could be the same or could be an evolving the same for several products, but it doesn't mean that you get the same product output in the end. That's where we stand.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Let's thank our speakers with a round of applause again. Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, don't be surprised that coffee became such a big subject of conversation in the first panel after lunch. No accidents here. Thank you. Once again, thank you, gentlemen.